Wagwan, my peoples, the numbers for January are in. We have our first market report of 2026. Let's jump right into this one. What is going on, YouTube, and welcome back to another video on the Living in Tampa Bay channel with Shandon. I am your host, Shandon Kiah, your trusted real estate advisor for the Tampa Bay area. I am excited to bring you guys the first market report of the year, and you might be a little surprised at how they turned out after the way the year ended at the end of 2025. A large part of the year last year was very static, but I anticipate these next several months to be very dynamic here in the Tampa Bay area. So it's really going to come down to buyer demand and interest rates to see exactly how much activity we're going to have. Before we begin, I want to remind you guys that I am a licensed agent in the state of Florida. So if you have real estate goals, questions, or dreams of moving here and want to buy a property, I'd be honored to help you find your new home. Or if you have a property you need selling because, life happens and you are planning on moving around, I'd be honored to help you achieve those goals. So I'm going to drop my contact information on screen. Please give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email. Do not hesitate to get in touch, as I'm always here to be a resource for you. And if you enjoyed this video or found this information helpful, be sure to go down, like, comment, and hit that subscribe button because it genuinely helps me continue to create more content like this for you guys. All right, let's begin. First on our list, as usual, is Hillsborough County with an active inventory of 6,272 properties, a decrease from what we saw in December. These properties are taking an average of 73 days to sell, an increase from what we saw last month, and an average sale price of $520,359, a decrease from what we saw last month. Second is Pinellas County with an active inventory of 7,749 properties, a significant increase from what we saw at the end of the year, taking an average of 70 days to sell, a decrease from what we saw a month ago, and an average sale price of $637,394, another significant increase from what we saw last month, even the month before. Third on the list is Pasco County with an active inventory of 4,451 properties, a decrease from December, taking an average of 74 days to sell, an increase from December, and an average sale price of $362,477, another increase from what we saw last month. And lastly, to the south, we have Manatee County with an active inventory of 4,774 properties, taking an average of 86 days to sell, both increases from what we saw a month ago, and an average sale price of $527,743, a decrease from what we saw at the end of the year. All right, unlike most of these videos, there is no particular pattern across the four major counties of Tampa Bay, and that I feel is only indicative of how dynamic this year is going to be. And like I said earlier, it's all going to be dependent upon how much demand buyers have. If interest rates come down, that will obviously increase that demand, and how long buyers are willing to hold out or pay rent until they finally decide they want to close on a home. And on the opposite side of that coin, you have sellers who are probably staying adamant about where they value their property at and aren't willing to come down anymore. Hence, you have a couple value decreases in Hillsborough and Manatee County. I want to dive in real quickly to Pinellas County. We know for years Pinellas County has been very high in demand compared to the rest of the Tampa Bay area, and that is because of its beach lifestyle, its proximity to some of the nicest beaches in the nation, and I think for that reason we're starting to see recovery from the hurricane a little over a year ago, and it's coming back to what it once was a few years ago. Even though we have a significant increase in inventory, there's also an increase in property value, and I think the main reason is, one, you have a ton. If you drive around cities like St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and even now the St. Pete Beach cities, Madeira Beach, Treasure Island, St. Pete Beach, etc., you have a lot of new construction luxury developments that are pushing the average price up. Not necessarily $600,000 homes are selling by the truckload, but these 750, 850, 950, 1 million, 2 million, $3 million homes are holding the average value up across the entirety of Pinellas County. I've also observed that several of the homes, even though they might not be luxury, that got knocked out by the hurricane have been fully remediated. Sellers are walking away because of the uncertainty that they might get hit again. So they've remediated these properties. They made them look really nice. A lot of them are completely remodeled from the ground up, including new roofs and, of course, cosmetic repairs. And buyers are now taking that opportunity to get those waterfront, beach community homes for a much lesser price than they probably were able to before and will likely be able to in the future. Now, other than Pinellas County, the other three have seen increased time on market and increased time to close, which tells me that properties are still sitting on the market, likely overpriced, and buyers aren't willing to pounce on them. But a big part of that has to do with how much inventory there is. Not every property is going to sell. If you have 5 properties on one street, only one buyer or 2 buyers want just one of them, then the other 4 are going to sit there. And unfortunately, that is causing the average time on market to increase if these sellers aren't willing to negotiate their price downward. I will say that this is probably the longest time on market from list to close that we have seen in probably 4 or 5 years, especially in Manatee County at almost 90 days from list to close. I believe for the next 2 to 3 months, buyers will still have leverage in the market and can negotiate those seller concessions and maybe some money off of the purchase price. However, moving into spring, summer, which typically is Florida's peak season, I anticipate a lot more buyers to enter the market and it start to shift into more of a seller's market opposed to the buyer's market we've seen for the past year, year and a half. And though I don't want it to, if that does happen, we will likely see a significant increase in property values across the entirety of Tampa Bay, not just exclusive to Pinellas County. So I say that to say this. If you are a buyer and you've been sitting on the sideline and not really sure if you should enter the market or not, I'd say you probably have a 2 to 3 month window to get in and close on a home before prices get outrageous again. And if you are a seller, unless you are in a difficult or challenging financial situation and really need to sell your property for work or whatever the case may be, it may be in your best interest to hold out just a few months longer before putting your property on the market. But in the meantime, do the things necessary to get your property market ready, increase curb appeal, make necessary repairs, and then crunch your numbers to see where you need to be at. That way, when you are ready to list your property, you can hit the market and start getting offers immediately. If you see conflicting data with what you saw today, just know that I pull all of my stats from my local MLS. So if you're seeing different things from different realtors or different news stations, then just know everyone's numbers are going to vary, but my videos that I do here encompass all residential properties, including condos, single-family homes, multifamily homes, up to 4 units. And this, of course, does go over the 4 major counties of Tampa Bay. Now, I always like to say I am no sidekick. These are just my anticipations based off what I'm experiencing in my day-to-day and where I think the market is going to go in the near future. I always encourage everyone to do their own research and educate themselves as best as possible to make informed decisions when you're buying real estate. Now, I like to keep these videos short, sweet, and to the point for you guys because I know the market reports can get a little bit boring, but I do like to give you guys the info so, like I said, you can make the best informed decisions when entering the market as a buyer or seller. Before I head out, for my buyers, I want to give you guys a little bit of value. So in the description of this video, I'm going to drop a link to my free home buyer roadmap. It is a game plan for the next 3 to 12 months to best set you up to purchase a home and be closed and have your goals accomplished of purchasing a home, whether you are a first-time home buyer, upsizing, downsizing, whatever the case may be. It gives you some actionable steps that you can start taking in the meantime. That way you are best prepared in the future. All you will have to do is copy and paste that link into your search bar, and it'll take you straight to the PDF completely free. And for my sellers, I didn't forget about you. I'm going to drop a link to my sold playbook, which is essentially the same thing, actionable steps you can take to best prepare your property for the market in the next coming months and achieve the greatest financial outcome. And lastly, I want to remind you guys that I am a licensed agent in the state of Florida. So I'm going to drop my contact information on screen one more time. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email with any questions you may have about Tampa Bay real estate. I'd be honored to earn your business and help you make that transition, whether you are buying or selling. And if you found any information in this video today to be helpful, I ask that you go down, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next video. Peace.